My name is Andressa Anantharaju and I will be presenting to you my senior project, Nightingale. I chose this name after Florence Nightingale. She was a famous British social reformer in the 1800s, and she laid the foundations of professional nursing when she established a nursing school in St. Thomas Hospital in London. But why Nightingale? The problem I want to solve and the question I ask myself is, how can we use technology to take better care of our aging parents remotely? The idea and the passion to work in this project was born out of observation of my own surroundings, my family, and that of friends and friends of friends. And what I noticed is that we're living lives that are more and more fast-paced, busy, and globalized. We might be living in one city and our family is miles away, in another state, country, or even across continents. But that doesn't take away the bonds that we have and the love and care that we share for each other, especially in the moment of old age. So with Nightingale, my question is, how can we strengthen these relationships, support them in a more seamlessly integrated way? I also noticed that the elderly, even those who are not exposed to computers and digital technology in their early years, are adhering to tech devices quickly when they see the benefits of it. They're owning smartphones and happily texting, sharing photos, posting on social media. In fact, about 20% of seniors in the US today belong to a social networking site. More than 70% go online almost every day. More than 50% are using health monitoring devices. To give you a bit more insight into the demographic of my project, we are looking at seniors who are 65 plus. They represent today about 14% of the population of US, and they're expected to grow to about 20% by 2020. That is a big number, and we have a lot of baby boomers who will be aging into this demographic as well. What does this mean? They will be even more accustomed to technology and have an even stronger sense of independence, of not wanting to rely on others. About 50% of them are unmarried or widowed, and about 30% live alone. When we look at the other side, the family caretakers, they are anywhere from 35 to 55 years of age. They are at the peak of their careers, busy, active, probably raising their own children. They represent about 30 to 40% of US population and have a very high household income, above the national average. So I looked at all of this and I noticed I had enough information to tell me there was potential for my project. I still wanted to investigate further, and I did some interviews. I interviewed a couple of physicians, one of them a geriatrician, and I asked them what were the top concerns when attending to an elderly person. I also interviewed a few other people who had gone through the experience of taking care of an aging relative. And from them I wanted to learn what were the main pain points in their experience. What were the things they needed that were not there? What could have been improved? And this was a very rich process that helped inform my design process. With the results, I laid this experience map for both seniors and their family. And some of the main points that stood out were, of course, the worry with the elderly taking their medication correctly, on time, and being able to track it, remind them if they forget it. Also be able to account for all the medication that they're taking at one time. This is especially important when they're going to a new physician or starting a new treatment, which, as it happens, they do very often. They have a lot of doctors and a lot of appointments, something that's also difficult for them to keep track of. One of my interviewees was saying that her grandfather had just a lot of paper notes all over his place to remind him of all the appointments he had. So it's a very messy and analog process. On the family side, an interesting thing that came up was how difficult it is to realize you'll have to step in and take the role of a caretaker all of a sudden. It's something that we are not necessarily trained for, you're not prepared for. And she thought it was a very stressful and lonely experience. She missed having who to share her experiences, ask for advice. So with, again, all this information, I was happy with my research. I went back to my notes and to my drawing board, and I brainstormed all the possible features for my project. And I went through several iterations, of course, but what I envisioned was an ecosystem of connected devices. Nightingale would take the shape of an application for mobile, tablet, and wearable devices. On the family side, the application on the smartphone, since that is the most popular device with this demographic, easy for them to track things on the go. On the senior side, the application can be used either on mobile or tablet, but most importantly, on the smartwatch. I chose this device because it's an object that this demographic is used to. They probably wore a watch for many years, if not still wear it. So it wouldn't be a big learning curve. It's something that they're already accustomed to. Also, it's a device that they would have with them all the time. They wouldn't run the risk of forgetting it, like the phone or the tablet, like they do with their glasses or their purse or jacket sometimes. So it's easy that it's with them. At the same time, it's already tracking their health data, such as the heart rate, their steps, their movement, their sleep patterns. Along with these devices, we also have some partner devices that could come in place, such as a smart medicine bottle that has a weight sensor at the bottom and can tell if the pill has been taken at the right time or not, and send this notification to the app. Also, glucose and cholesterol measurement devices, high blood pressure monitoring devices, and so on. So to walk you through some of these functionalities and devices, I'll introduce you to one of my persona's journey, Peter. Peter is 82 years old. He is divorced and lives alone in North Carolina. His only son, David, is married, has 2 kids, and lives in New York. Some of Peter's health issues are he has diabetes, also high cholesterol, he is slightly overweight, and is suffering from hearing loss. Here is a picture of his typical day, his activities since the morning until the time he goes to bed, and we can see all the touch points that the app could have with his routine. Since the moment that he wakes up, takes his glucose measurement, weighs himself, goes for a walk, takes his meds, takes a nap in the afternoon, goes to bed at night. So here, what we can see is the reminder he'll get every morning to take his glucose test, to keep track of his diabetes. We can see that he can use a partner device to take that measurement, and it will sync the results back immediately into the app via Bluetooth. And we can see there he gets the results. In this case, it's in the form of an alert because his measurement is higher than what it's supposed to be. The moment this happens, his son in New York will receive a notification as well. So on his smartphone, he will know that his father took his regular glucose measurement and it is high. So what David can do is go to his father's profile and take a look at his recent activities. So here I'll give you a quick demo of what this would look like. So if he goes to his father's profile, he has here a quick look at his current activities. He can go in and check for his glucose measurements, and what David sees is that they haven't really been regular, and he feels worried about this. He decides to chat with his wife and see what's her opinion, and she realizes that maybe his father is having difficulties following his diet, and suggests, why don't we get him a meal plan that would cater specifically to his needs, to the diet he has to follow. His son likes the idea, and he goes to the community area of the app where he has some resources available. Besides forums that he can post questions and ask for advice, he can use the resources. There is a handy list of things that would be most needed for a caretaker. And with services, he can search for a meal delivery specifically in the region that his father is at. And now these are businesses that are already serving specifically to the elderly demographic. He will get a few results. He can take a look at them, choose one that looks interesting, review their profile, and here he can see that they do offer meals that are specific for patients who have diabetes. He can take a look at reviews from other users, contact the business, and if he likes it and decides to hire them, he can simply add them as a provider in the app. As we can see here, David has both his mother and his father in the app to monitor both. So he will add this provider to his father's profile. When we get to his profile, David will not only have a handy list of all the medications he's taking, all the doctors he's going to and their contact information, but also the service providers he has. So here we'll see the meal service he just added, a housekeeping service, maybe a nurse that comes once in a while. So this is easy for him to keep track of everything he needs for his father. When he goes into the business profile, what he'll see is exactly what he hired them for. In this case, the meal plan that they have, what are the fees they're charging, the contract he has, and even keep track of the payments. So this could be an easy way to deal with the financial side of caretaking as well. So now that the meal service has been hired and we get to the delivery moment, an interesting integration is that the business can also have a Peter's profile. They'll receive all of his, the information that they need to create his meal plan and any special care that he requires. So in this case, they have a note that he has difficulties hearing. If he doesn't attend to the deliveries, just notify him or contact his caretaker. So when they are about to deliver, they can just say that they are at the location, and Peter will receive a notification on his smartwatch. This notification will vibrate as well as display a visual notification, so it's easier for him to notice it. Another integration that can happen at this point is using a smart door lock device. Peter could easily even unlock the door remotely. Let's say he's not feeling too well, he is in bed, or he is all the way in the backyard, he could simply tap open and receive the delivery. This could also be helpful in case his son remotely needs to let someone in the home, either for cleaning, fixing, or maybe even someone to take care of his father. I'll look at a few other features. Of course, very important one is the medicine reminder. So here the integration with that medicine bottle that has the smart sensor will send a notification to the watch again, tell you what kind of medicine you need to take, what is the dose, any requirements. Here is an example of what this could look like on tablet and mobile, including the image of the medicine bottle, also useful since they tend to forget what the medicine looks like. And again, if the patient misses it, the family will receive a notification so they can take action. Here, another feature that I enjoyed working on a lot is this quiz to help seniors practice their cognitive abilities. So it's a way to assess how they are doing and keep their brains active. This quiz was based on a mini mental sheet examination that physicians use to assess dementia and its progress on patients. I replicated some of the questions in an interactive way in the app, and they're really very simple. Just asking what's the day today, which day of the week is it. Each question is timed, and for each of them they are assigned points. At the end, we can see how many points they scored, and this can give a range of how they're doing. The family caretaker can easily go ahead into their dashboard and see what the progress has been like. If there is a sudden drop in their performance, it's a sign that they need to take a look into it. So even if you are remote, you would be able to still keep in check and take a look at these small changes that happen usually day by day, that when you are distant, you miss. A quick look at the app flow on the watch. Aside from the notifications that the seniors receive, how would they navigate through the app? So once the app is launched, keeping just the very basic functionalities for a case of need. We have only 2 options per screen, so very simple. On the first screen, we have an ID card that would contain the senior's medical information, their full name, social security number, address, emergency contact. Useful both in case of a medical emergency and if they by any chance lose their memory or get lost and they need help. They can also require for an emergency. Another feature is Pick Me Up, that the idea here is try to not make them navigate through a lot of different apps. So how could they have some of the main functionalities they would need for their daily life in one single place? So here's the case, maybe they went out shopping and walked too much and maybe felt tired, they want to go back home. Or again, if they do happen to suffer from memory loss, they forgot their way and need to be taken back home. All they need to do is just tap Pick Me Up and a taxi service will be requested. They can also call family members if needed and take a look at messages and notifications through the app. Nightingale was a very enjoyable journey, and what I'd like to see as next steps for the project is be able to create a functional prototype that I could test with my demographic. I would like to get input on how the features are doing, what is it that's relevant and successful, and iterate from then on. I would love to see this come as a real product one day, and would be looking forward to partnerships that could make this come true. Thank you.
Different notebooks and lots of pencils and paper.
When you feel like it's clean and there's nothing extraneous.
I've grown a lot while I've been here, and I think a lot of that growth is because of the city.
You come out of the program with a lot of skills, and you can choose which area is it that you're most passionate about, that you want to work in.